We are officially out of the Premier League running, which means there's only one competition that we can still win to mean we don't go trophyless in Season 2. And that is the Champions League. Hello there everyone, it is TIJ and welcome to episode 10 of Season 2 of Conquering the Euro on Football Manager 2019 with Liverpool. And today we play the two legs of the Champions League quarter-final against our domestic rivals, Manchester City. The first leg's at Anfield, followed by a leg at the E10 or the Etihad later on in the episode. Now, as you can see, we are officially out of the Premier League. We're 16 points behind Manchester United with 15 points to play for. So the highest we can now finish is second. It doesn't even look like we're going to finish fourth at this rate because Arsenal and Chelsea have got another game in hand. So we could be as much as 8 points away from the top four. And I have to say that this season has been an absolute disaster so far. But we've reached the board's goal of reaching this quarter-final in the Champions League. We got to the League Cup final, which was good, but we didn't win that, and that's not good for us. And in the FA Cup, we didn't do as well as we'd hoped. So we've reached our goal in the Champions League, but wouldn't it be great to go even further and potentially win the competition to make sure that we get our Champions League place for next year? Because I don't particularly want to be playing the Europa League, but we do want to be playing some sort of European football to bring some of the players in that we need to strengthen this team to be a title-winning team next year. Now, the last time I saw you folks, we were playing against Arsenal and Inter. We've had 3 games since then. We started off particularly well against Watford. We beat them 5-1. Balotelli with 2 goals. Shaqiri, Grujic and Gnabry sharing out the other 3. Joe Gomez actually started off the game with an own goal, and it took us until the 54th minute to get our goal. But as soon as we got a goal, we were firing on all cylinders, and that made it 5-1. And the last 2 games we have had we've just been a little bit too far away. 2 away games against Tottenham and Man United. And we nearly walked away with a point and nearly 3 points. We took the lead in both games, crucially. But we lost the lead both times. And that's ruled us out of the Premier League. And losing those 6 points, it could have been 2 wins heading into today's game against City. And that is a real shame. So we'll play the 2 games against City. The game against Southampton off camera. But I have to say that I think Southampton, Palace, Swansea, West Ham and Leicester, they're all winnable games now. And I think that we need to be winning all those 5 games to have any chance. And to have any deserved chance of getting into the Champions League place and arguably keeping our job, because if we lose today, we've reached our goal in getting to the Champions League quarter-final. They're not bothered about the League Cups, that's always going to be 50-50. The board aren't very confident in the FA Cup, and they're not confident in the Premier League, so we need to make sure that we find that balance in outreaching the board's expectation in the Champions League. Now, we've changed formation from last episode. I haven't played FM for a few days, so I can't remember where I did get up to in terms of telling you guys what's going on. But I'll tell you again anyway. We've got 3 formations now. We've got the Gegenpress, which I've altered it to suit our previous style, which did very well in the first season. We've got a 4-1-4-1 counter-attack, which you saw in some of the defensive... Actually, should we play that today? That seems like more of the opportunity. There's that one, and then there is just a part-the-bus tactic for ahead, and we need to part the bus. But we are going to change, to this tactic today. I think that would make sense. Now, Vinaldo, I can never remember who can play there. Does Henderson play there? Fabinho's the player. Yeah, brilliant. Henderson plays there, but Fabinho's injured. We got a few injuries, actually. Lallana, Fabinho, Keita, and as you can see, there's a few players that are unregistered or injured, etc. And Origi's not registered for the Champions League. So we're going to go for this formation today, because I think that it might be a way to go on, especially with a bit more defensive cover. I can't decide where to play these players. So defense, no, we don't want 2 defensive playmakers. That seems a bit stupid. So we'll have to use a box-to-box and Wijnaldum as a Mazzala. That works for me. So the team today for today's first leg, we've got Alisson in the net with Alexander-Arnold, Gomez, Van Dijk and Robertson at the back. Personally, I don't think that back 5's got to be changed in the summer. I'm happy with that back 5. I don't think we need to strengthen. I'm happy with that. In midfield, we've got Henderson, obviously going behind Milner and Wijnaldum. Potentially, we might need another central midfielder because... But if you look at the stats, I mean, Fabinho's been playing quite well. Milner's probably going in the summer. So I don't know where we can strengthen there. And then on the wings and attack, to be quite honest, I think we just may need a more clinical striker. I mean, Firmino and Balotelli have got 28 goals between them, which in any season is brilliant. And the goals are coming between the players, admittedly. Serge Gnabry's got 17 goals. We can score goals, but we want a bit more from one source. And maybe Gnabry is that source. He could score 20 goals this season. And if he was a striker, it'd be like, that's a brilliant season. And Gnabry's just had an absolutely fantastic season. But they're playing a mirror formation to us. So that's an interesting one. With a few new signings, E10, Metalio and Rafael Guerrero on the right back and left back. Van der Beek as well in the midfield and Paulo Dybala in the striking position. Now, as I say, I haven't played FM for a bit, so hopefully the bad form that we've had can be shook off. And I've told the lads, yeah, let's go and shake off this form this is a very important game. And if we can beat Man City, the sky is really the limit. I think that, I don't mean to be harsh, but if we get through this, there is I think Porto and Lyon's the other game being played tonight. Now, if we could draw one of those teams, then I think there's a good chance of us getting into the Champions League final. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves yet. We've lost our last 2 Premier League games. We could be absolutely battered today. So let's not look too far ahead already. But hopefully a bit of a change in formation, a bit of a change in mentality, a bit of the superstition and a bit of luck in that we haven't played the game for a while. And fingers crossed, we should have a good omen for us today. And it would be brilliant if we could get a bit further in the Champions League, just to say to the club, look, we've had a bit of a rubbish Premier League season, but that's because we've been focusing on the Champions League. But it definitely will be a gutting one if we don't qualify for the Champions League. And that's awful from Alisson. I'm saying that we don't need a new keeper, but that's very poor from Alisson there. But he does keep it out nonetheless. And I don't know. We've had a very poor Premier League season. That's down to just inconsistency. I think with this new game, both seasons that I've done Conquering the Euro, I've really struggled to get consistency where we can play some scintillating football sometimes with some of our brilliant attacking players, but we can keep it tight at the back as well. But we can win 20 games quite easily by 5 or 6. But it's those 5 or 6 games that we lose. It's that sort of month that we're off the piste, if you like. We're not doing very well. That breaks our season, and we're not doing very well here, in fact, to be honest. We're going to go counter-attacking, but we are going to demand more, because it's obvious that City are a cut above us at the moment. Whether that's motivation, determination, I'm not quite sure. We're not the team that we were, but we're playing the same players. But I think Balotelli's one that perhaps can make a bit of a change. I'm not completely convinced with Firmino this season. He's been out of a lot of games, and giving Balotelli a chance might be the thing to do. But we've got Origi's back off loan from Sporting Lisbon, and he's done quite well since he's been back. So that's good, encouraging to hear for him. And Sturridge is doing quite well on loan at Ajax, and potentially we might cash in on Sturridge, because I don't think he's, well, I say the wrong side of 30. He's just turned 30, but he's on the wrong side in terms of age. Age is always a factor, and I think that Sturridge might be one to cash in on this summer before we do anything stupid and get rid of money free, for example. But it's very weird how this game's going at the moment. It seems that Man City are really dominated, but we're 35 minutes in, and City haven't got past us yet. But this might be the exception to that. But we have had a very good Champions League campaign. From what I can remember, we've only lost 1 game, which was against PSG, which when we'd already qualified for the next round. But it was coming. City have scored. It's 1-0, Leroy Sané. And even now, I fail to see how we're going to get back into this game. We're just not good enough attacking-wise. I think we might either need 2 strikers. What's going on here? Oh, it's because we can't change tactics at the moment. Right. Okay. Hopefully this is 1-1, but if it's 2-0, we've got to score at least 3 to get back into this tie, because obviously with away goals, they get the advantage. But hopefully this isn't a City goal, but it looks like it might well be. But good stuff from Vinaldo to track back and get the ball back. But poor stuff from Henderson, holding on to the ball for way too long, giving it back to Man City. And now there's a chance for a counter-attack for them. But you see, if you're playing a counter-attacking mentality, you'd think you'd have the players back to deal with this counter-attack, which, to be fair, is something we've done. But I think we are going to revert back to our former tactic, because we're not in the game, to be honest. We're really playing poorly. And we're going to put the wing-backs back to defend. Just so our defenders are defending and our attackers are attacking. And I don't know. Maybe Firmino comes on the second half. Maybe revert our system a little bit to get 2 men up front, because I feel that Balotelli being the only man up front might be something that we're lacking a little bit, because the likes of Salah aren't playing very well, and we've just had no chance. We've had 37% of possession, and City have very much dominated. And I can pretty much say that they've got off quite lightly this half, even though it does say that what's separating the teams is that strike from Leroy Sané. But albeit, a goal is a goal, and we're going to slam the players, see if they can get back into it, and if they've not done anything between now and potentially, I don't know, say the 60th minute, we're going to have to make changes, because if we lose this game 1-0, going to the Etihad, I'm not all too confident. But it could be worse. It could be worse, and it probably will be by the end of this game. But let's just wait and see. It usually is when you're not thinking that your team's going to win that something happens. So let's have a bit of faith. Let's not have any faith, actually, because it seems the opposite to what you think's going to happen always does happen with FM. But Leroy Sané on the ball for City. We've now got another attack for the Mancunians. Through to Paulo Dybala. Dybala back to De Bruyne. They're going to have a shot. I think it's going to be 2-0 here, to be honest. De Bruyne, Fernandinho. What I like about City, it's good, composed play. Something that we can't do. We can't keep the ball at the moment, to be honest. Fernandinho, Kevin De Bruyne. We could win the ball back, but the intensity is just not there. Pardon me. Trent Alexander-Arnold should have got that back. This is going to be 2-0 into the box for Paulo Dybala. and it's 2-0 to City. We're going to have to change something or else we're just not going to get back into this game. We can't pass into space because that's not working. It's really not. We're going to have to just hit early cross. See, I don't want to be too direct. I don't want to make things too complicated either. Maybe overlap on the left and right. Distribute it over the opposition defence. I think that's the only way we can go now. Oops, we missed that. And then, I don't know, maybe a lower defensive line. I'm really not sure at this point. But what we're going to have to do, I think, is bring another striker on. We're going to have to replace Alexander-Arnold because he's shattered for some reason. I don't know why, but it might just be the fact that he's played a lot of games recently. So Jorge Mir comes on for him, who's actually not the best fit either. But what we're going to do, we're going to bring Firmino on for Milner or Henderson. I think Henderson, to be honest. I don't think Henderson's had a brilliant game. Bring him on for Henderson and make it like that. So we've got Firmino up front. And then we are going to go just purely attacking. Do we? See, I'm feeling... we're going to leave it a little bit. We're going to leave it a little bit. And then I think if we get to sort of the 70th, 75th minute and we haven't got our goal, I feel like Götze might be able to come on and change things. But we're just not doing very well. And I don't know whether it's just that the fire's gone out of the players. I'm really not sure what's happened. But it seems that we're having a very much end-of-season slump. And the only excuse I could give to the board is that, well, we've been focusing on the Champions League. But if we go out of that today, okay, we've had a good competition. We got to the last 8, a lot further than we got last year. But because of our focus on the Champions League, which isn't really an excuse, this is going to be 3-0, isn't it? That's painful to watch. Luckily, it wasn't 3-0. But because we focused on the Champions League, we're not going to get in the top 4. If this is 3-0, I think it's probably game over. Van der Beek, Dybala, good tackle from Virgil van Dijk. This could be a chance here. Van Dijk, right. We said direct passing, now get a good passing. Good stuff from Otamendi, though, to be fair, to get rid of that. And what is Firmino doing? He intercepts that, but puts it straight to De Bruyne. Raheem Sterling on the wing. Former Liverpool player, of course, back at Anfield. Sterling runs past all the players, but Alisson, to be fair, does get up and tip that over. I mean, where have the days gone? Where in most matches we'd have 20 or 30 shots. I think we've had 3 today. And I just don't know what's happened to us. I can't decide, and it seems we're making tactical change, trying to revert back to what we did before, and it's just not working. I mean, 1 goal in this game would be brilliant, but as you can see, 3 shots we've had. Potentially try and retain possession, I really don't know. But then, what's the point of that now when we're not, when we need goals? Right, we've got 20 minutes left. Let's see if we can salvage a goal out of this game. We need to go attacking, that's the brutal thing. Yeah, they're too far out to become a threat, I agree with that. So we're going to bring somebody off and Götze's going to come on. But the question is, who's going to come off? Right, we're going to do something crazy. We're going to bring Gnabry off. Alright, come on, Gnabry off. Bring Götze on. I think you can probably gauge what I'm going to try and do. Götze there, and we're going to play a 3-man up front job. Salah can play there. So we're going to put you back to a complete forward. You as a pressing forward, pardon me. And what we're just going to have to do is hit early crosses. Not really tell the players really much what to do, but we can't really hit direct crosses, can we? Because we've got to focus play down the middle. Yeah, there's not really a lot we can do now. We're going to have to put our wing-backs on wing-back automatic, just so they can cover the line if needed. But if we concede again, it's not really a loss, to be honest. We're already 2-0 down, and it's not going to take a miracle to get back into this, I get that, but it's going to take something of a miracle to get back into it. And I've had 20-odd shots there. They're dominating us, and that's poor from Robertson, you know. That's really poor from Robertson. That just shows to me that the lads have got no interest in this anymore. Yeah, and that's 3-0, I'm presuming. Good stuff from Alisson to tip it round the post. Not that I did think it needed tipping round the post, because I think it was going wide. But we're 2-0 down. It looks like I feel that City will get another one on the ball before the end of the game, even though I might be wrong. But if there's another goal in this game, it will prove absolutely pivotal for whoever gets the goal. We're going to tell the players to get creative, but there's not a whole lot we can do, to be honest. There's not anything we can do. We can do all we want, but purely it is down to the players. And we've got 4 minutes left, and we just haven't offered anything. We've had 5 shots, and to be honest, we have been, to be polite, crap. We've been absolute crap. We haven't offered anything up front, even though we have got a chance now. Our first of... and Firmino's offside, that's why. But I don't know what we're going to do at the Etihad. We need 2 goals at least, provided we get a clean sheet. It's going to be tricky, but we're going to go for it. We're going to go for it. We're going to have to go for it, or else this season is going to prove to be an absolute disaster. To make our job even easier today, Joe Gomez has damaged his cruciate ligaments. He's out between 5 and 8 months. So he's not just out for today, he's out for the European Championship, which is the Euros, and he's going to be out for some of next season, which is absolutely blooming fantastic. But for our second leg against Man City, Alisson starts in goal with a reverted back 4. It's just Jorge Mir that takes Joe Gomez's place. Wijnaldum, Götze and Milner play in the middle with Shaqiri and Trincao on the wings with Balotelli up front. I wanted to ring the changes, as you can see, we've made a lot of tactical changes. So I went back earlier in the season in the videos and I've altered the tactic to something that looks a little bit more like that. And Shaqiri and Trincao on the wings with Balotelli up front. We beat Southampton 1-0 with Götze scoring the goal, but it wasn't, again, the most brilliant of performances. But we've got to attack today. That's the one we've got to do. We've got to attack. We've got to get a clean sheet. We've got to win 2-0 or more, or else we're out of the competition. And I genuinely do think I'm quite worried now that if we don't win today's game, we're not going to qualify for the Champions League, I don't think now. It's neon impossible. I think that with Chelsea with a game in hand, we're 5 points behind them. So, well, that's game over, isn't it? 15 seconds in and City have took the lead. For a team that I thought at the start of this game, let's change the tactic up. Let's go and get a good standpoint. Go and show the pundits. Go and show everyone that we're doing what we can, and they start like that. Dear me, Götze. And he's lost the ball already, but luckily, because of a mistake from Sterling, we get the ball back. How permanent it'll be, though, is a good question. But a good ball from Mir through to Shaqiri, but Shaqiri doesn't quite get it. Otamendi to Sterling. I'll tell you what, though, he probably had more possession in that last bit that we've just seen than pretty much anything that we've seen in anything now. Where's the match stats? For some reason, the boards on the side of the pitch keep floating away. But Patrick Roberts comes through. How's that happened? Van Dijk scored now goal. It's 2-0 already. Well, we need 4 now. We need 4. If we score 4 goals, we go through. But can I see it happening? No. No, I can't. And this just sums up our season, really. It's been crap. And I don't really know what to do in the summer either. We've got a penalty, I think. No, we haven't got a penalty. Right, okay, fair enough. I thought we got a penalty because there was a tackle that went in there. But this just sums up the season. I don't know what to do in the summer either. We've got so many youngsters coming through that's got a lot of potential. Do we use them next season? Because really, next season is the one we want to win the title in. We don't want to be here forever. And we've got to make a decision at some point whether being at Liverpool is going to be good for us. And this tie's over, today's over. We're not really going to score 4 in the next 76 minutes. That's not particularly going to happen, let's be honest. There's more chance of City scoring again, which they have. And it's now 3-0 to Man City. And Milner scored an own goal. It's just an implosion. And I think possibly, before we have the chance to win anything here now, I think we might get the sack. And it hasn't gone well, FM19 so far. It really hasn't. I've had little bits where I thought, I've finally got this game and I finally understood what's going on. We finally got a good tactic. I apologise, my face out of it for a second there. We finally got a good tactic. We finally got it working, and all of a sudden we think that, and it implodes on us. We have a bad run of form, and the season's over. And as you can see now, the season's well and truly over. We're not going to score 5, and I don't know what we can do. We've got pretty much our strongest team out there, bar a few, and we're getting battered. And is there any way back from here to go from this position under the same manager to winning the title next year? I don't think so, because I told the lads at the start of this year, right, let's go for the title. They believed it at the start of the season. Then I think it kind of just tailed off gradually, and it has tailed off gradually. And we had a really good start. We were unbeaten for a while, but as soon as we did get beaten, it was just a complete implosion. And a bad run of form is always what tips a team over the edge. It's exactly what's happened with us, and we're just going to have to try and produce a masterclass here, just as direct as possible in terms of passing, and just see what we can do. It's really frustrating to see this, because ultimately there's not a whole lot I could do. We come into this today hoping that we got a clean sheet in at least one of the games. But ultimately, City are going to score against you. It's going to happen. City are going to score at least once. But we haven't offered anything. We had 3 shots in the last game. We've had 3 shots today. I know possession doesn't matter particularly today because we just battering, or what's it called? Chucking the ball up front to see what we can do with it. But ultimately, we're not playing very well. And I don't know. It might be a case of going abroad, building up our reputation there, getting a few league titles, and then coming back to England on a later date. Because England is ultimately the hardest league. It's a tricky league to start with, the English league. It's probably the hardest of all the leagues to win. So I've put myself in a hard position, but have we come anywhere close to winning it? No, we were even though we finished 3rd last year, we were miles off because Man City and Man United, the 2 Manchester clubs, are filled above everybody else. And this season, it's purely because we've got a goal back. Well done. It's purely because the fact that other teams, the likes of your Arsenals, your Tottenhams, who didn't do very well last year, have come back to the forefront. Because we've been as sloppy as we were last year, we're back in 6th place. It's as simple as that. And the highest we can probably finish now is 5th, which gives the Europa League place, which means that we've only reached our goal in one of our competitions, which I don't think the board's going to be particularly happy with. And as I said, I think we could quite easily get the sack before we're given any opportunity to do anything. And I think possibly what might happen now is that we actually have to go down a team, not down a league or anything, but we might have to go to a lesser team in another league, in which we might have to build up. And this series, the complete build of this series, the complete story of this series could change massively, because my hope was to go and win a title in England. That shows that you're a very good manager, you've been able to win it in England, and then go and prove myself elsewhere. I think like it's going to be the opposite now. We're going to have to go after this job, which is not the best way to go. I'd have rather not had this on the CV now, because what have we achieved, Liverpool? We've won the Carabao Cup, but ultimately we've gone backwards. Is that my fault? I don't really know. I think that I've played a way that Liverpool would play, a gegenpress, and I think that we've made good signings. It's been proven. I don't think any of my signings have been a failure. And I think today's match is a bit of a cruel one. I don't think today's match really shows our full potential. I think because ultimately Man City are a very good team. They're a class above us. I think they are in real life as well. So, you know, it's a fair representation. But to be battered here by 6-1, it's going to be a red card for Fernandinho. But is it going to make a difference? Of course it's not by this point. But to be battered 6-1 and get a consolation goal is a little bit of an embarrassment. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're called into a board meeting now. And we've had enough of them. So I wouldn't be surprised if the club just go, look, you haven't reached your goals and you got the sack. It'll either be that, I think, possibly, or it will be when we don't qualify for the Champions League, because that will mean that, right, we haven't met our goals in the Premier League, nor in the Carabao Cup, nor in the FA Cup, and Man City are through to the semi-final. We're out of the Champions League. We've done all right. We've done decently, but ultimately we've done even worse than we did at home. So that's an absolute disaster. We haven't had a board meeting, but it's looking pretty grim now. We've got 4 games left in the Premier League. And, you know, in that position, we're 5 points behind, even though Chelsea have got a game in hand. And it doesn't look like we're going to qualify for the Champions League at all. So it's really dark times, to be fair, for us at Liverpool and conquering Europe. But if you did enjoy that video and you enjoyed my rant, please feel free to leave a like, comment down below and subscribe for future content, which I'm sure this series is going to get very exciting now, because ultimately I don't think we'll be at Liverpool for much longer. Longer. I don't think we'll be at Liverpool for much longer. So we'll have to see what the next chapter brings. But if you've enjoyed that, folks, make sure to leave a like. I've been TIJ, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.